Thank you very much, Ambassador Sullivan and Schengen, for the welcoming remarks. And now I have less than 1 minute to actually talk about Undersecretary Northey, so I will try to not kill all your accomplishments, but be very brief. So he was confirmed Undersecretary on February 27th of 2018, previous to leading the Farm Programs and Conservation Mission Area overseeing the Natural Resources Conservation Service, the Risk Management Agency, and the Farm Service Agency. Mr. Northey served as the Iowa Secretary of Agriculture from 2006 to 2018. He's a fourth-generation farmer. Mr. Northey's experience and depth of knowledge also brought him to serve as a commissioner of the Dickinson County Soil and Water Conservation District and president and chairman of the National Corn Growers Association. He was also president of the National Association of State Departments of Agriculture from September 2011 through September 2012, while serving as Iowa Secretary of Agriculture. He has a bachelor's degree in agricultural business from the Iowa State University and an MBA from Southwest Minnesota State University. Please.
Well, very good. I appreciate the chance to be here, and for all out there, good morning or good afternoon or good evening, whatever is appropriate for your time. As was mentioned, I have been at USDA now about 8 months. I don't know everything there yet. Certainly looking with great interest on the Farm Bill going forward as well. And as was mentioned, my area of responsibilities are called a new area actually put together called Farm Production and Conservation. So it's the Farm Service Agency, which is our farm programs, including our farm loans that are offered, our CRP program, our Natural Resources Conservation Service, which is our conservation cost share and advisory service that we have at USDA, and then Risk Management Agency, which administers the crop insurance program. Of course, crop insurance is actually delivered in the United States through private companies and private agents, but the formula is set up as a risk management agency through about 500 folks that we have within this mission area. So my total area is about 22,000 folks. NRCS and FSA have folks in each of our county offices, a little over 2,000 county offices across the country. So as we look at Farm Bill, or as we look at farm policy in the U.S., it's certainly right now especially, it's very logical to look just at the Farm Bill because that's what the headlines are as we talk about the farm policy. But in the United States, certainly, as in probably every other world, every other country in the world, there's a lot of other places that set farm policy and a lot of other pieces besides farm programs. And so as we look at those pieces, whether we look at banking regulations, other kind of business regulations that impact agriculture, that's also important. That comes out of other areas, comes out of areas that are different than my areas of responsibility and different than the Farm Bill. As we look at regulatory issues, increasingly pretty much every place in the world has increasing regulations around new technologies, around environmental regulations and others. Many of those regulations come outside of the Farm Bill as well. And in the U.S., certainly this administration is looking as hard as we can at ways that we can make sure that we're not doubling up on some of those regulations and that we're offering a good opportunity for innovation. And there is an innovation policy that we either have overtly or covertly. And certainly as we look at gene editing, as we look at transgenics, as we look at other new technologies, it's very important to all of us here to be able to provide some opportunity for innovation to be able to happen as well. States have agricultural policy. We have local watershed policy. I will actually be at a meeting later this week with some of our other federal agencies, EPA, Corps of Engineers, the Interior, to talk about some of our water policy, both water quality and water quantity work that they do, and we want to be able to make sure that we're doing them in a way that does not confuse our constituents out in the countryside as well. So there's many other pieces. And then as we look at the Farm Bill itself, there's several pieces. We don't yet know what all those say. I think we'll either see text today or tomorrow. Lots of rumors out there, but in general, what you have is a farm bill that approaches things in generally the same way as previous farm bills. That's strong support for a crop insurance system, a risk management system as opposed to an ad hoc event-by-event disaster kind of approach, a recognition that agriculture is a very risky business. We need to find ways to be able to help producers manage that risk while not creating bad decisions or decisions that are against the general public interest in some of our risk management tools. We have some risk management tools as far as farm programs, and we call those ARC and PLC and a few other programs like that. Generally, those are changing just a little, but very little. The overall approach here is the basis of our crop and even increasingly our livestock risk coverage is through crop insurance. It's a subsidized program with still strong support for a subsidy to be able to make it economical for companies to be able to offer it and farmers to be able to purchase it. It is a significant program with high usability. Many of our crops are in excess of 90%, some are in excess of 95% participation. But farmers do not look at this as something as a program that they receive, but as a risk management tool that they have to pay a significant portion of. So crop insurance is one of those basic pieces that the conservation programs, again, are going to be very similar to conservation programs in the past. They're voluntary conservation programs. They encourage participation with many other partners out there as well. In fact, one of the programs called Regional Conservation Partnership Program is built only on that. You don't ask for support unless you bring many partners to the effort as well. We have conservation planning where we sit down and help a producer manage the farm in a way that addresses some resource concerns, whether they participate in a program or not. We'll continue to have a conservation security program or stewardship program going forward. It continues to provide some support. It's not the largest program out there, but certainly impacts a huge number of acres. And then on the farm program side, I mentioned ARC and PLC, other kinds of support programs. We have loans that we provide producers as well, continue to do that. That's a non-subsidized but low interest rate for producers that are especially challenged in being able to find borrowing out there. Certainly overall, when you look at the total dollars in a farm bill, the biggest share of it goes towards our feeding programs, SNAP programs, and some of the other parts of USDA. But most farmers, when they think of a farm bill, they think of the programs offered through Farm Service Agency, NRCS, and Risk Management Agency. So several different pieces. I want to set the stage there. Looking forward to the conversation. Certainly think we're at an interesting time, and those of us at USDA right now are anxiously awaiting to be able to see what these programs offer, since we'll need to stand these up. And as long as it takes to put a farm bill together, everyone's going to wonder why we don't have it implemented tomorrow, the day after. And certainly we have great interest in being able to implement as fast as we can. So again, thank you for the opportunity to be able to be here, and I look forward to the conversation.